Street cred sports. Street cred sports. I'm crossing over. I'm Euro stepping.
Hello, this is Keenan the Street Cred Sports Training, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. Today is episode 88. It has been a minute. I'm not sure if we're on 88, 87, 89, 90. I believe it's episode 88. How are you guys doing? Good. I hope everything is good. I know it has been a minute. I had to take an unexpected break, so I apologize for my absence. I didn't even realize how long of an absence it was. I'm thinking it's about like maybe 3 weeks, and I went back and looked, and I was like, it's like been since January 18th, I think, since I've actually been on podcasts. So I apologize because I know, that y'all are just like fiending for this podcast, and it just really, makes everybody stay. So, it was unexpected, some movement, some new things that came to mind as far as business wise. So I've had to put a lot of time into it. I know if you've been to our website, you'll know that the website is actually new, which is great. So there are some things, and as if you're following us on all the social media and stuff, you'll start to see what we're doing. I'm not stopping training or nothing like that. I'm just adding stuff, and by adding new things, it kind of took me away from doing this. And I wanted to do one last week and the week before, but time just didn't help. It's weird because it just feels sometimes like there's not enough hours in the day. Like you'll be up and it's like, okay, it's 8 a.m. You're up doing, I'm not trying to, you're never going to hear me say I'm up at 6 a.m. Nah, that's not me. Unless it's an emergency or I have to get up and go to the airport or something to pick somebody up. Nah, your boy's not getting up that early. I'm sorry. So, you get up and it's like, you got some stuff to do, you got some time, and then you look up and it's like, damn, it's already 1 or 2. Now I got to start getting ready to go train. And then you go and, do the stuff that you have to do, and then you train, and then when you're done, you get home and it's like, okay. And it's like, damn, where did all of that time go? So it just kind of snuck up on me. So I'm trying to structure my day a little bit more so I don't have these lapses where I can, miss out on stuff. So that's that. So I apologize for being out. I can't say it won't happen again because who knows? I could, be sick or something really bad, or somebody else, or it could be an emergency. So let's knock on wood and hope that's not something that happens. Okay, so without further ado, let's go into things that interest me. Now, don't turn the old episode off, but I am going to mention Taylor Swift. I can't believe I'm mentioning Taylor Swift on my podcast. I'm not really, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not a Swiftie. I've listened to a couple of the songs. There's a couple of songs that, I like, and I don't know the name of the song, the lyrics, but when they come on, I'm okay, I'm feeling it. Why am I bringing up Taylor Swift? Well, my wife, she's a Swiftie now. She wasn't a Swiftie, but she's turned into a Swiftie. So oftentimes I'll come in the house, or if I'm in the other room watching TV or doing, working, or when I come home and she's playing a Taylor Swift concert, right? So somebody, and apparently they're okay with it, with Taylor Swift. People record the concerts while they're there. And, they stream them or they post them so people can watch the concerts that didn't go. Now, I'm kind of like, nah, man, y'all need to buy a damn ticket because I paid a whole bunch of money to get over here and watch. Why you get to sit at home for free and watch it? That's I know it's wrong for me to be thinking like that, but that's just kind of how I was, going in my head about it. But then something happened that I wasn't expecting to this degree. I was, happen to sit there and I'm trying to just relax for a minute, get home, debrief what is it, unwind, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm not really paying attention to it. She's kind of singing along to the lyrics, and I kind of look up, and the people the people in the concert, everybody's singing. Now, obviously, you could hear some really bad voices coming through, but everybody's singing, and they're not singing the hook or they're not singing one phrase, and she's not saying, how she says, or how when you're at concerts, they'll sing a line and then they'll stop and put the microphone in the air, and that's the audience's cue to sing that word or that phrase, right? To let everybody know that they're in unison and stuff. And it's pretty cool. But what they were doing was they were singing the whole entire song along with Taylor Swift. And I have to stop and I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, like, why are everybody singing the whole damn song? Didn't you go to the concert to hear her sing? And she's like, no, it's just what they do, and it shows like, everybody's into it. And I was like, yeah, but I ain't paying no $400-500 if not more to sit in there and listen to somebody next to me sing the song. I want to hear the person who sang the song on the radio. That's her song. Y'all need to shut the hell up. She looked at me. She was like, well, that's not how it is when you go to a Taylor Swift concert. I was like, well, I won't be going to no Taylor Swift concert because I'd be damned if I sit up in there trying to enjoy the song and everybody else is singing. I can't even hear Taylor sing because this person next to me is like a baritone and they don't have no voice and it's all cracky. So no, it was crazy. It was crazy that they would actually be okay, and she's okay with it. My understanding is she's okay. She doesn't mind that, right? And that's cool. I as I started thinking about it, I was like, man, that's cool. But then I'm like, well, shit, I'll just stay at home and watch it stream and party in the house if I want to do that. Save me all the time and money from going there. But I get it. It's the experience thing. But to me, how the hell am I gonna have experience if I'm listening to somebody who don't know how to sing a song that I really want to sing, right? So like, yeah, nah, yeah. I just told her, I was like, look, there wasn't any chance that I would go to a Taylor Swift concert, in the first place. But that nothing, that 0%, that's in the negative. It's like negative 15% that I would ever. So you got to get me from negative 15 back to 0 even to have a chance, and that chance is gone. So it was crazy. So if y'all have a chance, YouTube it, YouTube a concert, or message me. I'll ask her for the direct link that she looks at or the person that she goes to. But like, yeah, they be streaming each concert, and it's like, that's crazy. Like, yo, nah, y'all gotta turn that shit off. Yeah, y'all, I'd be security. I grab that camera and say, yay, put your hands in there. Yeah, bring your ass over here and pay just like everybody else. Click. That's just so wrong of me. That's so wrong. All right, but yeah, that was just such an intriguing thing for me to get that information from her. All right, so let me move on to. It's been a while, so I'll go back to the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, I would love to talk about the Super Bowl commercials, but Super Bowl commercials have been so bad. I just, like, you get so excited and you're thinking this is going to be the one commercial that's just going to be so funny. Now the Dunkin' commercial with actors and stuff, it had potential, but it's kind of like you're waiting, but you don't get anything, right? Hell, I would have liked to see the Will Ferrell commercial where he's singing that song and tapping, and he goes over there and he's complaining about the price, and he tells the kid, those aren't freshly squeezed lemonade, and then he runs out. I would have loved to see that in the Super Bowl ad. That one's really funny. Will Ferrell he makes something look funny anyway. You feel bad because he could be serious. I'm having a heart attack, and he's actually dying, and you look probably like laughing, like, yeah, man, yo, dog, you funny, man. You crazy when you having a heart attack, right? So, but in any case, the commercials, I think we have to, for me, and I put it out there. I think we have to come to the conclusion that we're not going to be seeing any more of these types of really good commercials where they're funny and engaging. They don't put them out like that. So I think I'll have to just kind of understand that and lower my expectations. But as for the Super Bowl, you hear, I was pulling for both teams. I didn't have a team that I was like, I don't want them to win, but I wanted, for history, I was looking, at the Kansas City being the first Super Bowl team to three-peat, right? So I'm pulling for that. Then at the same time, I'm pulling for the Eagles to win, for Saquon, Jalen, get them a ship after everything that happened with Saquon in the offseason, moving from the Giants to Philly, as well as everything with Jalen Hurts in the past couple of years. So, I was pulling for him. So, I wouldn't have been upset with if either team won, but I kind of felt like Philly had the better team. And it's weird because you hear like, well, when you have, even though if you could have a better team, you're going up against this guy. And that guy would be Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick is he's had issues this year, earlier in the year, and not to say that he's regressed, but he didn't have the same kind of mentality when he was throwing. He had a lot of interceptions early, so, but he was able to overcome that, and you got to start thinking, you're not going to have quarterbacks that don't throw interceptions now. Quarterbacks are going to throw interceptions. It's just a matter of if you can keep them from throwing excessive and bad interceptions. That's the way it looks, right? So, he's been great. But then there was a stat that said, hey, well, teams with dominant D-line and offensive line, or teams that are ranked that finished the season ranked high in this category and that category, always win. And they listed those teams. And I was thinking like, yeah, this could be Tampa Bay versus Kansas City all over again, because if they don't have to rush more than 4, which they haven't, they can put pressure on them with 4. That's going to make everything harder for him, because he's going to have a hard time, trying to find them lanes and run and hit Kelsey and stuff. And that's what was happening. But I tell you what was funny. When it was, 7-0, 10-0, got 17-0 when he threw that pick 6. And then it's 17-0, and I was like, man, that's 2 touchdowns. They're gonna get the ball. He gonna score at the end of the half. They get the ball the second half. They score again. Now it's 17-14, right? But then then they scored again. So that's 24-0. I think it was 24-0 at the half, and I was like, yeah, but that's still 3 touchdowns, man. They're gonna be good. They're gonna come out. They're gonna figure it out, and they'll come out and score the third quarter. They came out that third quarter, and they didn't move the ball. And then they scored again. I think it was a field goal or a touchdown. I was like, man, I think they can still come back. And I know I wasn't the only one thinking that. Like, man, that's Mahomes, man. Even though he was looking like he was seeing ghosts that first half. He was really looking unsettled. And as great as quarterbacks are, the great ones, you get them unsettled where, they're worried about that pressure. They're not accurate. Brady wasn't accurate against the Giants. Those 2 years he lost to them. Peyton, he wasn't accurate when they played Seattle. He was having problems. So the great ones, and there are others, but you rarely have guys that are getting hit, with that kind of pressure consistently, that they're able to come out of it, right? So hats off to Philly, man. They really dominated that game, and it wasn't even close. And you know, did I think you? I didn't think. I thought Philly would could possibly win, and it would be. I figured if Philly won, it would probably be kind of not close. And I thought if Kansas City won, it would be one of those close, tight knit games where they come back at the end. And that's kind of how I was playing it in my mind for the team. Like I couldn't see Kansas City blowing them out. I didn't see that. I didn't see that firepower, and their offense has been great. So that's kind of how I saw it. I didn't see this. I was very surprised at this, and I will tell you, like, the average person looks in this. Jalen Hurts did his thing. His MVP and everything. Yes, but I want to say, I think on the low, I think there are a lot of players and personnel and in the NFL aficionado would say, look, we probably should give it to Saquon. Here's why. That man has been dominant all year. He's had I want to say almost every game he's had maybe a 30 or 40-yard run, right? I could be wrong. It just felt like it, if anything. I could be wrong that he had at least a 30-yard run in every single game he played in this year. I'm probably wrong about that, but for the sake of argument, let's say that. He was so dominant that Kansas City had to say, we're not letting him run 20, 30-yard run. And the thing with Saquon was he might not run that at the beginning, but at some point in the game, he's going to hit you for a 30 or 40-yard run. And now you're like, damn, right? So they made such a disciplined and concerted effort to say, nah, we're not going to let that. So they was on him the whole game, but they couldn't do it with their front four. They had to have extra people up to stop him. So since they had to have extra people up to stop him, the thing with Philly has been, pick your poison. Either it's gonna be, your either we're gonna kill you in the run or we're gonna kill you in the pass. They said, well, we're gonna make Jalen, beat us, and Jalen's very capable of beating them. He damn near beat him that first Super Bowl, so he showed what everybody was feeling like he should have shown. Saquon picked up some blitzes, which were key. If he don't pick up a couple of blitzes, those passes aren't where they were supposed to be. They don't score. Could be, sack strip, which leads to a fumble that, possibly gets Kansas City on the board early, changes momentum and everything. Saquon. And even in the fourth quarter, even when Saquon's in the game, they were tackling him, and he would get up kind of laughing and talking with him, and they was looking like, nah, hey, we might not win, but your ass is not going, you're not having one of them breakaway runs. And I thought that was cool to see. So, yeah, it was an interesting Super Bowl, and now, we got to see what happens. Kansas City was humbled. They were really humbled. I will tell you this. I do like Travis Kelce, but he does talk a lot of. Now he's able to back it up. He's proven it. But I saw him do a few things in the AFC Championship and against Texans, where it was like he was baiting people. He would do something and then get them to react to get a personal foul penalty call. And he'd get the ball and he's celebrating everything. He wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't talking. He wasn't like, he just had this look, they was just thoroughly dominating him, which is something that you haven't seen. So, they're champions, and, I can't wait to see what the future holds for them. Okay. Now let me talk about Luka Doncic. I might be messing that man's name up. We'll just say Luka, damn it. The Mavs traded Luka, if you haven't heard, if you've been under a rock. Dallas Mavericks trade Luka to the Lakers, and they receive Anthony Davis, Christie. It's not Doug Christie, but they Max Christie. They receive Christie and some other players and stuff. Shakes up the whole world. Now, the funny thing is, I had just put my phone down. My wife is, I'm trying to settle in. She's scrolling on the phone. Then she's like, hey, they traded Luka. And I'm looking at her like, Luka? She's like, yeah, the Mavericks traded Luka to the. I was like, girl, you. It's like, girl, you don't know what you read. Although my wife is very astute with sports, right? She's very astute. The way she said it was like if I was like, hey, oh, hell, they traded Luka. Like, that's kind of how she said it. But I was like, nah, you reading that wrong. They ain't traded Luka. And then I grabbed my phone. I was like, oh, my God. Like, there's no way I could fathom that they would trade him. So they trade him, and now it's all about what's going to happen, who wins the trade. Now, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I think the Mavs would win this trade short term, meaning, and this is if Anthony Davis were to have stayed healthy, they win because they're equipped right now to win an NBA championship. Going further, I would say the Lakers would win because Luka's younger. Those guys are a little bit older. You can build around Luka from, future coming up to put him in a position to win championships. Now, having said all of that, the one thing that I don't think people they discuss it, but they don't like bring it up in to way I have. Luka's a defensive liability. And that was, it's been shown. And I've seen that all throughout his career. But it's very evident, in the playoffs. And it's very evident when you get to the finals. If you have the type of team that can pick on him, he was bad. I had a friend who, and it was surprising because, he's somebody that played and stuff. And it's like, oh, man, the Mavs going to win. And Luka's, I was like, man, do you understand what they're going to do to Luka? And sure enough, not only did they go at Luka defensively, strategically as the primary defender, they went after him as the help side and then helping the helper because Luka didn't do that. So if you look at lots of actions, it was caused because of Luka. Because if you have a weak link that's not committed to playing defense, then what happens is everybody else has to help. And when they're helping, it's leaving gaps, right? So I get it. You can be disciplined, but if you're disciplined in some way, and let's say he gets blown by, if he doesn't make an effort on defense to at least make it hard for you to get by him, then that rotation defensively is late because they're by him so quickly. You don't have a chance to help. Now, if somebody else comes, they're off their rotation, or let's say that guy has to get over there, but he has to get over there so fast, and they've isolated, and now he gets over there so fast, and you kick that shot out. Luka's not the one that's going to run over there and help. He's going to go, but he's not going to bust his butt to get out. So that was what happened. And I thought, the only two things that I always felt Luka needed to do better. And yeah, it's like, well, man, what do you know? He's scoring all his points. Yeah, but if you see his usage rates, how much he has the ball in his hands, what he does, he's not always running plays to pass. He's often passing because they've taken away his option. And what I mean by taking away his option is, that's what you're supposed to do when they take away your option to shoot, you pass. I said, yeah, but sometimes it's different with how it happens. Like he gets to a spot to where he's looking to shoot, but he put himself in a position to where he's not trying to make the pass. Then it's only obvious when he has no other option that he passes. Now, he didn't do that all the time. I'm not saying that's every single time, but a lot of times that's what you saw with him. Dribble, going through pick and roll, hunting this person. Okay, now I got it. Now I want to go, right? It wasn't as fast and crafty as what you've seen. So he's there, and yeah, he's there with LeBron, who's someone who's up in age, and LeBron hasn't been one to show commitment defensively. He's shown that throughout the years. He's great on ball. He's great sometimes when it helps, but you go back and watch film against those Spurs teams and against the Warriors, like, you know, he was bad defensively. Now, they won against Miami, and they won against Miami primarily because Miami didn't have the personnel to make those guys work the way they needed to work. So he I ain't gonna say he struggled. He just sometimes chooses not to do certain things. So what worries me is, they're looking good right now. Now tonight they play the Mavs, and Anthony Davis isn't playing, but you know, I don't think they're going to be able to sustain it once they start to play elite teams that are going to break certain things down against them and defend them properly. Because at some point, like I think the way they're going to go is LeBron's going to play off ball and Luka's going to have the ball in his hands. That's fine, but all great players are like, yo, like, okay, all right, I get you, but yeah, now let me get this. Let me get this ball, right? So at some point, I think, they're gonna have to figure it out. But it's defensively that I think the biggest issue is gonna be. Now, if they get to the Western Conference Final, then is it really a win? Because they got to the Western Conference Final with Darvin Ham in his first year, right? I don't know. Like, they look good, but they'll look good against, like, they lost to Charlotte. Like, come on, man. You can't win big games and then suffer that kind of defeat. But I guess all teams do it. You'll win and then you lose. But, like, it's just something about them that it's like, it seems like it's kind of a not fraud or fake. I'm not saying it. It just looks like it's a house of cards, I guess. Doesn't look like it's going to have any substance. But I could be very wrong, right? I could be very wrong, and I'll be the first to come and say, man, look, you know what? Now, they look great against Denver, but Denver's personnel lately isn't like, they've been going through things. But, like, they're not going to be able to do that. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against the elite team. So it could come down to where they're seated. I think them being seated in a certain place is going to be so important for them to to get far. They get a seed against a team that likes to put things in perspective for them defensively and offensively in the playoffs. They're going to be in trouble, but we'll see. That's the great thing is we got to play. They got a little bit of time, and you got to have some time to gel and really figure it out. But when you're figuring it out, the other team is figuring it out as well. So we'll see what that is. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my basketball ideology. First thing I want to talk about is when you have younger kids that are starting to play up, right? They're playing up against bigger competition. Now, in some instances, it could be good because you're going to start to play more athletic kids, right? So you're going to have athleticism. And then you're going to, you start to be a little bit more structured defensively because when you're younger, it's just most teams are, fourth, fifth, sixth grade. They might play some man-to-man, but they're not taught, well, from what I've seen and what I've, heard, they're not, a lot of these teams aren't teaching the kind of stuff, tactics that you get in high school. And I think they should be because kids play summer city league and travel ball longer than they played at high school per year, right? You start high school, so I'll take El Paso, Texas. I'll take this scenario where they start in like the middle of October. So it goes from middle of October, so it's November, December, January, and then towards the end of February is when the playoffs start. So if they make the playoffs, you're basically talking 3.5 to 4 months of actual, playing practice. Now, When they go to travel, it's from March, April, May, June, July, August, sometimes into September, depending. That's 6 to 7 months that they're playing city ball, and sometimes travel ball will go that far, even playing through not playing in the live periods. But you would think if they're in the fifth and sixth grade, they can start to do these things, but they're not, because I'll mention it. I'll bring it up in the next subject, so I'll just keep this on there. It's a good thing at times. I think it needs to be, if you have talented sixth graders, you can start to play them up. And my view on it really is, if let's say you're in a you're a third grade team, and you're slaughtering every third grade team that you play, and it's not even close, and it's like you don't feel like your team is being challenged, yeah, move them up. Play against fourth graders. Now, would I say move them up, to fifth grade? Nah. Just use the fourth grade, I guess, and play them and learn stuff and get better. And then when you're fourth grade, move them up to fifth grade. Because the thing is you're going to start to find that you're going to have struggles, right? You're going to struggle at some point. You're not going to have fifth graders that are so talented they're moving up and playing and beating A grade teams, right? I mean, not saying that you can't win a game if you got really talented players, but by far, as a whole, you're not going to have that, because then what happens is you have these, people who are play up and they travel. So like, I'll give you an example. There's a team that had A grade players, and they play very well here. So they move up and they play freshman in JV, right? And they're doing well. They win a lot of games, and and they have success. Then they go out of town and they play in a tournament, and they're playing up, and then they understand what athleticism is, and now they're playing against kids that are natural ballers, right? And I'm not saying they're not natural ballers here in El Paso, but the talent level here is different than what it is. It's not on the same level as it is out, and that's a fact. That's a fact, and that's not me. Like, oh, these players are terrible. It's just what it is. Because if it wasn't, if somebody said, "Oh man, why are you hating on El Paso?" I would just say, "Okay, name me the last 5 Division I players that have come out of El Paso in 1 year." Basketball, football's gotten better. Now compare that to a city like Phoenix or Dallas. Compare it. You can't. So that's what I'm talking about. But you go in these tournaments, and it's good to play against that level of competition because you see what it is. But then a lot of these teams get out there and they get really smacked, and they realize, okay, when we go out of town, we gotta play, our age group, so we have a chance to compete. Because it's one thing to play up and play against some team that you are, you're losing to, and they beat you, and it's pretty soundly, but you feel like, hey man, we did some good things. It's another thing to play up against a team where you get smacked. You get really smacked, and it's like, man, what are we doing? Why are we here? Like, we shouldn't even have been here, So you don't want that to happen, because then it creates a lot more doubt if you do it on a regular basis. If you do it and you play up and you play out of town and you play against you just have to play against a team that's just that much better than you, I would say it's a good experience, because you see what it's like to play against the best. But if you play in a tournament up away from the city, and every team beats you by 30 or 40, and it's like they were taking it easy on you. Like, excuse me, I had one kid who was like, yeah, man, they were throwing lives and shooting half court before by the middle of the first half. That's how far it got out of hand. Like, okay, yeah, that's bad. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're going through things properly, okay? So, that's going to lead into the next one, and it kind of ties in. Now, I'm not doing that segue stuff, but it kind of ties in. You know, players can play on teams or play teams 20 times a year. And I'm talking about in city league, because in city leagues you're in the same, league. You play in different leagues, but it's still the same team. So you play in one team, you know, two or three times for this season, and then playoffs you play in once. So that's like 4 times. But then in another league you might play that team 3 times. So that's like 7 times, right? You play in that league 3 or 4 times a year, because that's, they stop for like a week or two, boom, and then they actually have, oh, I'm sorry, that was weird. I'm on do not disturb and I get a phone call. I guess I should have answered it. I have to call that person back. But you play them, these leagues, they go plus tournaments and stuff if you see them. Excuse me. Let me just, yeah, there we go. I take my thing and put it on silent. How dare they call me and call me back? All right, so back to what I was saying. You play them in tournaments enough, you end up playing, 15 to 20 times. So that's something that can happen. Well, what I'm getting at it with this is I've had kids that have been playing in these leagues. Some of them are a little younger, so I don't expect it. Some of them are older. And I asked them, well, when you play this team, because, we're playing this team, and it's like, okay, like, yeah, what do you do this? And I was like, you've never scouted them? And they kind of look like, what do you mean? And it's like, no, you've never scouted that team. You've never paid attention, right? And they just give me this look, and it's like, yeah, okay. So such and such, who's this person on this team, right? And they'll name a person, like, this person likes to do this. Okay, so what does this person like to do? Well, he comes up, he likes to make a move from the top, and then he tries to get to the basket and get a layup. He always does this move, and he crosses his back or goes around his back, comes back to his right. And I said, that's a scouting report. And they were like, oh. I said, yeah. So now if you know this is what he likes to do, then you don't let him do that. If he likes to come down, he crosses over to his left hand, he starts driving, you overcommit which allows him to come back to his right with a crossover around the back. Don't overcommit. Just stay locked into him and make him take a tough contested left hand layup. Oh. Okay, what does this team do? Oh, they like to trap. Yeah, when we throw the ball in the corners, they always like to come down, and then they get us to throw it over here, and it's a turnover. It's like, okay. So number one, let's try not to throw the balls in the corner to keep away from the traps. But when it happens, let's attack that trap better. Let's do this, move out to do this, and attack it better. Oh. I'm like, yeah, that's scouting. That's how you prepare for teams. And I say that because it is odd, because and look, I'm not. Sometimes it's hard because if I give criticism or constructive criticism or something, it's often taken like, oh, you just hating, you don't like. No, that's not what I'm saying. But we got to understand that there's improvement that needs to be made, right? So if I say, I think City League coaches should do a better job with understanding, look, we're playing this team for the 1,200th time this year. We're not going to let them do this. This is what they do every time, right? And we're going to take that away from them and make them do something different. That's basketball. So I do think that coaches should, I'm not saying you need to have a film session with second and third graders. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're playing a team a lot, then you need to be able to effectively move stuff around to where you can, understand what they're trying to do and give them different looks. That's what scouting is. Now, obviously, there are certain things you just, you're not going to be able to stop, but you're just trying to make things harder, and that's what scouting is. You want to take away the strengths, make them do other things, take away certain things that they try to do all the time, and you just say, look, you know what? We're gonna live with this. We're gonna live with little Johnny. I don't know why everybody always said little little Johnny. I don't know if there's a kid named Johnny, but I'm just saying, we're gonna live with little Michael in the corner shooting. Right? We're gonna force him to shoot, and if he scores 30 points, then so be it. Whatever it is. It's kind of an NBA approach, but we copying everything else from the NBA with the fancy shooting and working on all of this. Why not add, some more defensive philosophy in there? Prep these kids for when they get to middle school and high school. They are so cerebral, that they can do anything. And that's what I do with in training. This wasn't no segue to promote my training, but I'm just saying that's how I found this out, is because we do a lot of that, and those kids often don't know. I tell them, I said, look, I got an actual scouting report from an NBA team when I used to do my camps. So this is what a scouting report looks like, right? So it's just interesting that those things don't seem to come up. And I mean, I've talked with some coaches and they like, yeah, like maybe we should look into those things. So we'll see. But I just think the brand of basketball should grow, because when you look at the way, European players are, they're getting that. They're doing those things. They're understanding the game. With me, I make all of our kids, our players, you got to understand stuff. We go through things. You're not just going to come in here and dribble and shoot and think that's training. No, you got to understand cerebrally, ball IQ stuff. What are you doing here? Why are you doing this? You need to be looking at this. This is going to be coming across. So those are things that, we can discuss at a later day. And I really feel like it's important because it is really become, we've expanded more with our training to really try to take those things on. So that's going to be all today. I would like to say the stuff that we've been doing. I've started what I call a basketball online community. It's through school, and I'm going to attach a link description and a link to it. And what it's about is it's a way for me to connect more with players that that aren't here for me to train. I do connect with a lot of kids, a lot of players throughout the country. So it's like, you know what, let me go ahead and do this, and it makes it easier because I'll get hey, can you help me out with this, or this is something that they're going through. Can you help? What do you think? So with this community, I'm able to do that. You can try it for free 7-day trial, but then you sign up. It's it's a $20 fee a month, and with that I'll have like, you'll be able to have like live Q&A discussions with me. I'll have a new 6-week intermediate to advanced training program. I have other drills and stuff, things that I really try to cover in depth in trainings. I'll be posting that stuff, webinars, and all kinds of stuff. Plus, you'll be able to communicate with, other players who play and stuff like that. So I am excited about it, and, I want to see it grow to be able to help, because, I'm often told like I should be able to help more. And I think this is going to be a way for me to try to help ascend players who are looking to, to get better. So that's going to be all today. Just make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, comment on all of our platforms. Was it TikTok? I do have people that comment and stuff, so I have to do drills for TikTok, Instagram as well, Facebook as well, YouTube. I am trying to create my blue sky as well, so look for that. And try to engage us with conversation, with comments and stuff, and see how that goes. So it's not gonna always be a situation where it's something that I might like, and I mean, I might be slamming me for something, but I'm a big boy. I can take it. It's just as long as you're not coming at me in a bad way. So with that, I'm gonna end it the way I always do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. I'm out.
Street cred sports, say it with your chest. Yeah. Go get it from the net. Street cred sports, okay, that's a bet.